KaPow! So we have writer, director, editor, Connor White, and he is representing his films, City Music and Red Planet Blues. Welcome to KaPow Intergalactic Film Festival, Connor.
Thank you very much, Matt. It's great to talk to you.
It's good to talk to you. So you are out in Philly, correct?
That's right.
Excellent. So your films are very different in their approach. Their genres are different and the styles are different. What kind of inspired you to do these type of films, or what was the process, or like how did you go about with that?
Sure. City Music and Red Planet Blues both started as school projects and then kind of branched out into larger personal projects that I finished up on my own. City Music was mostly inspired just by my experiences in an urban setting. I didn't really grow up in a place like Philly, and then when I came here for school, it was just a very different environment, and I wanted to express that in a way that was celebratory and vibrant and very musical, just because that's how I find my experience here. And then that was the biggest film project I've ever worked on and like spearheaded myself. So with Red Planet, I definitely wanted to scale back a little bit and just kind of make something more lighthearted and just easier to produce. So it kind of took the goofy inspiration from some dreams that I've had and just played around with a short story. And I've never done sci-fi before, so I also wanted to give that a shot.
So let's talk about, I thought it was interesting that what you were saying about, the vibrancy of living in an urban setting. Where were you originally from?
So I was born in Wisconsin, grew up in Maryland. My family's actually recently moved to upstate New York, but I'm still here living in Philly for school.
And you're going to school where?
In Philadelphia at Temple.
So what cameras did you use to shoot both of these films?
Sure. So my lovely cinematographer, Greg Taylor, shot both of these with a little help from Matthew Connolly, who did some Steadicam work on City Music. I believe pretty much all of City Music was on one of the Sony Alphas, but I couldn't tell you the exact number if I tried. But I know that Red Planet was all on Blackmagic 4K, and we took advantage of a lot of the gear and resources that are available at Temple. So I have them to thank for that.
And what did you edit on?
Mostly both of them were just edited on my home computer that I got, my laptop.
What software did you use?
I'm definitely a fan of the Adobe software. So all of the Premiere Suite, After Effects, was a lot of very heavy After Effects on Red Planet especially.
So at Temple, did they teach primarily Premiere, or they do Avid or Final Cut Pro? I've actually been shocked at how many people keep bringing up Final Cut Pro.
Yeah, that was funny enough, kind of a factor in deciding where I wanted an education was what software they tend to use, because I was already familiar with Premiere before coming here. So they certainly like Premiere better, but I know it's a matter of opinion. They all have their strengths.
Well, I mean, I don't know. For me, it's like I have to pay for the Adobe, package anyway for all the software. Right. So it just seems like Premiere is just the logical, software to use in regards to that.
I'm sure they get some kind of deal on it too,
So you're saying that you were using primarily After Effects. Let's talk about the post-production process for Red Planet Blues. Because
Sure.
I really like
I'd
the
love to.
red and yellow gradient technique that you utilize there. And from what you were telling me previously is that you were shooting that outside of school. And honestly, I felt like you did a really convincing job of kind of simulating Mars or wherever you were trying to portray.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, so any Mars exterior shots that you see in that film are just on my, excuse the music in the background.
Oh, I don't hear anything.
Okay, great, cool. All of the Mars exteriors are on my campus here, and we don't really have a whole lot of grass, so we had to take advantage of what we could find. But there's definitely not Martian mountains in the background, so that kind of required a lot of manual rotoing and masking to first remove those and then put back in the landscape and the atmosphere particles floating around, the color grade making it very orange. That was something like I was very excited to do, was something super punchy and vibrant for that as well. And yeah, the image I used in the background is actually a real picture of Mars from NASA, and all of NASA's, well, I shouldn't say all. The picture I used was in NASA's like public domain, and it was just like an actual picture of Mars. And I found it convenient because it had two mountains that are named the Twin Peaks, and I thought that went well with the kind of clone scene that you see later on. So it's a bit of foreshadowing there.
So what was it like to act with yourself? Because I hear that you're a very difficult person to work with.
That was definitely interesting. I really don't have acting experience to begin with, much less trying to do it with myself. So I had my roommate work with me as a stand-in and kind of be like the shoulder in the edge of the shots where you're supposed to be like seeing over my shoulder into the other version, and then basically just him reading the script to me and then me acting it on the film, and then in editing just putting it all together.
So you were saying that Red Planet Blues was based off of a dream?
Yeah, I have a lot of very complex and specific dreams. So I took inspiration from a few that I've written down just over the past few years, and all of the best elements from that, put it into the script, as well as some just more generic dream events like we were talking about earlier with the being afraid that you failed your test or something like that. Just things that I hope that a lot of people can relate to in their common dream stressors, as it were.
Yeah, the school thing still plagues me. I mean, it's been a while since I've been in school, and I wake up in a panic. Like, oh my God, where are my books? Do I have the syllabus? I don't know what's happening. Yeah, I have that nightmare. I definitely can relate with that. So when your character said the LSAT, I was just like, yeah,
yeah,
I can relate. So, one thing that I'd like to do is I'd like to screen share.
Sure.
Your profile, because I really liked the graphics you did for particularly city music.
Sure thing.
So here's your official selection page. Like this graphic, I thought you did a really, really good job. Did you design these, or did you have someone work on these for you?
Thank you. Yeah, I designed these. The logo itself was probably the first thing I did on the entire project. I don't know particularly why, it just stood out to me as something I wanted to accomplish first. And then the cityscape you see in the background is from the opening shot of the film, and then with those like colorful shapes kind of overlaid on top of it.
What font is that? That's a really nice font.
You know, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I found it and I was like, it's very like unique, but also not like specific to a time. Maybe like a little 70s perhaps, but
Little.
it's just,
Yeah.
you know, it just looked very colorful, even though it's a font. Somehow it spoke out to me like that.
Yeah, I mean, what I found interesting about City Music was it reminded me of like a slice of life Americana from like PBS. And like your graphics and everything have a very 70s vibes, particularly your poster, you know, with the vinyl record. And I don't know, just reminds me of folk music or something. And yeah, the graphics on this were really good. And I really enjoyed your poster right here.
Thank you.
This is a good one for sure. So even this, I mean, was kind of like this kind of red tone. Was that morning or sunset, sunrise or sunset when you shot that?
Yeah, I got up early morning for that sunrise, and I didn't love the way it came out, but I didn't feel like waking up early again to try again. So that's what we went with.
I think it looked really nice. It's very striking and very inviting. Yeah. So I really enjoyed your marketing work.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's talk about the music, because the note that I have written down here is the orchestra of life, and
Sure.
I don't know. I felt like the musicians that you work with did a really good job portraying character, portraying mood and tension. And I don't know, that was one of the things that I really enjoyed about that particular piece. You want to talk about the music process and the musicians that you worked with to get the theme that you were going for.
Absolutely. Yeah, I cannot shout out all of the musicians that composed the original score for this enough, just because I think they did such a great job. I don't know the first thing about music or composing music, but I just happened to pull together a pretty good team of people that also go to school with me. And I have to also give a special shout out to Nicholas Organ, who kind of translated my directory thoughts that didn't have musical terminology in them into like kind of directing the rest of the band in what they should actually be performing and playing. So yeah, I think they all did a really great job. It started with just me meeting with them and saying, "Hey, I want a movie that we make the music for first instead of the other way around." And they had no idea what I was talking about. And then basically I gave them existing movie scenes to score and practice with, and then from there we went and got like a bass improvisational track that we used during the filming, and then after it was filmed we brought them back in and had them perform the final music for the film, and I think it just all came out great. We were very fortunate.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very fun piece, and I enjoyed. It was like being in their lives together, and and like I was telling you earlier, the end scene kind of made me a little melancholy to see a party with the blue solo cups and people hanging out playing video games, and there was a couple making out. It's just like,
yeah, definitely.
I was longing for the days of yore.
Yeah,
How we're stuck in lockdown, and our festival has to be virtual this year, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It was nice to see. It's kind of like you got to live in their life for a little bit.
Definitely nostalgic to look back upon. Ironically, one of the most stressed days I've ever been on set was getting that scene.
Yeah, it's hard when you're having to wrangle a bunch of people and know that, eventually they're like, dude, I gotta go. It's like, but I need you. Sit
Absolutely.
here. So that one's hard. And so the musicians and a lot of the cast and crew, they're all going to school with you at Temple, correct?
Almost all of them, yeah.
And you're a junior right now.
That's correct. I'm a junior.
And what's your degree that you're going for right now?
I'm working towards a degree in film and media arts with a concentration in cinematography. So I'm actually moving a bit away from the writing and directing side and more towards the camera work.
Okay. So what's your plans for your next project? What do you got in the works?
Sure. So I'm working with a local band named Rubber from the area. We're doing a music video. Should be, I think, 2 weeks from now ish. So we're shooting that, and then I'm also helping out a friend of mine with his junior thesis film at school. So I'll be DPing that film.
So how are you guys handling class? Are you doing everything virtual, or do you live on campus or off campus, or how is that working?
I live in an apartment that's very close to campus, so I'm pretty nearby. Most of my classes are online, but we do have a couple in-person, like camera workshops. So it's pretty much all on the computer though.
And do you like that? Do you prefer it? Are you introvert? Are you extrovert? Or are you just over it now?
It definitely has its advantages. I would say the main one being I could just roll out of bed in the morning and turn the thing on instead of having to go run somewhere. But there, especially in a degree like film, there really is no substitute for like hands-on work and meeting people in person. Like almost every aspect of it suffers in some way from remote learning, but we're making do with it, and I'm trying to create opportunities for myself.
Yeah, it's hard because it takes a village to get a film off the ground.
Certainly.
That means multiple people on set. And, I know I've been thinking about that because, I've been working on a script and like, what's the next project for me? And like, I don't even know where to begin with testing and masks and what's the risk and what's the potential. And I don't know, at least for me as a filmmaker, it's like, I at least need to get the vaccine, so that's kind of like my
Absolutely
focus on it. And then we could start opening the doors. And, it's like, I still see shoots going on, but the testing and the protocols or whatever, it's just got to be so burdensome that makes it difficult, especially from an indie level or even a student level.
Yeah, we hear a lot about how they're using like zone systems and different like protocols in basically top level of the industry right now. But unfortunately, with the kind of budgets and capabilities we're working on, at where I'm at, we're not quite able to pull that off yet. But hopefully, it'll improve soon.
Yeah, and then you got to wonder, is like, is this going to force just another different avenue of creativity? It's like,
Yeah.
there are going to be more animated shorts coming out. Is there going to be, stop motion or just like, even kind of selfie? I was thinking about doing like a kind of a music. Actually, your music thing actually kind of was inspiring me about just doing more ambient kind of serenity type of a piece, more of an experimental piece or whatever. But I don't know. Now I'm just talking in general. But I don't know, that your piece actually made me start thinking about that more, kind of like music video, slice of life, and just I don't know. I go to this park every day to kind of get outside of the house, and it was like a really nice day. The trees are blowing, and I'm like, all right, get some nice music, do some dissolves or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
Now I'm just lamenting the days of yore.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you're finding some inspiration in my work. That's very flattering.
Oh, it's you did a really good job with your films, and I'm looking forward to seeing more work from you. And I have one final question
Great.
before we go. Who has the best cheesesteak and why?
It's all about the circumstances, I think. I couldn't give the trophy to one particular person, but if you find a cheesesteak place and you're just at the right place at the right time, it's hard to beat. It's hard to beat.
So what's your favorite? What's the favorite on campus? Let's do Temple. All right, so on campus, what's the best cheesesteak on campus?
I would say this restaurant Philly style is probably my choice.
Philly style. All right.
It was a great meeting place when meeting existed.
Oh, good brainstorm place.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, we went to this diner when I was in Columbia. It was called Hollywood Grill, and we got a lot of work done at the Hollywood Grill. It was great. So that was our spot in Chicago.
Both have the city names in the restaurant title.
Oh, yeah. Well, Connor, thank you. I appreciate you taking time, and thank you for submitting to KaPow and being part of the festival. We appreciate it, and we really enjoy your work.
Well, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Connor.